episode of Hold the Mic, where facts matter more than feelings. Do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into it. Hey, well, we're back, so hopefully this works better.
Part 2!
Yeah, you get us twice tonight. How lucky for you.
Y'all double dipping, motherfuckers. Let's go. Let's get this going.
Oh, my God. So let's pick up where we left off. Fuck what you said.
Fuck what you heard. You ain't heard that before. 9-7.
But we were talking about Tony Hinchcliffe's dumbass before we logged off, so I figure we can go back there. So Tony Hinchcliffe came out and said that Puerto Rico was, floating pile of garbage, and that he and his one black friend were carving watermelons for Halloween. So, for those of you who thought that the Puerto Rico joke was his only shit joke, there was a few. So,
Straight trash.
And again, going back to this, if I'm tuning into, say, the roast of Tom Brady, I'm anticipating hearing some pretty fucked up jokes. I'm there to watch the Nikki Glazers, I'm there to watch the roast. Now, when you go to a political rally, I would expect just speaking for myself, I would expect to hear, policies, issues that might affect me, any kind of plans, said candidates might be having, pointing out the successes that the party might have had over the last few years. Right. A litany of things that I would expect to hear on stage at a political rally for President of the United States. The things I would not expect to hear are racial or jokes with racial undertones. That's just not the place. And by the way, it is really freaking stupid to shit on people that you're trying to get to vote for you, even if it's a joke. That's the thing I don't get. If I was running a political campaign and somebody came to me and said, hey, I've got an idea. How about we put this freaking roaster comedian up on stage and have him piss off everybody that we're trying to get vote for us? Yeah, that sounds like a winning fucking plan right there. It's just so unfathomable to me that people are defending this. Oh, it's just a joke. I don't want my fucking president being a comedian. I don't need a comedian as a president. I want somebody that's going to get the fucking job done. And that is not Donald Trump.
What you just said is actually Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine was the actor / comedian president I wish we had. Somebody with actual stones who could step into the role.
Right, come in and make me seem like an ass. Go, yeah.
No. I'm saying, I wish we could have that here, because what we have is the fat, ugly pumpkin parody version of what Zelensky is. Nobody that's tough. Nobody that actually is a patriot. It's just some, you can imagine Trump, the shit that he literally projected about Liz Cheney. He's never seen war. This man completely bone spurs and all this other bullshit. He would never last a day. He can't even hike a mile. Let's be serious.
Here's what I think should happen. Here's what I honestly think. I think that if Donald Trump is going to walk around and start proposing, firing squads and everything, let that motherfucker pull the trigger. Put the gun in his hand and let him do it.
Nah, Ryan. Nah. I'm not even going to flirt with that idea. Not with his ultimate immunity bullshit. I'm good. No. Because he's a coward. I
can't say that on the air.
Coward, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But it's one of those things where I look at the craft of art, right? Comedy is an art form that we should praise, and the fact that that is First Amendment for you to be able to say whatever you want. But I don't expect to have these kind of jokes, and the biggest part of this is, why was this not part of the opening set where it wasn't televised? It's like, if you're going to do something that's going to be that raunchy, they just didn't think. Yeah. Because that's what you expect in a comedy store, you know what I mean? Where they don't let you film certain things unless it's a roast, and there's where they want to sell, the raunchy, salacious comments.
They wanted the same type of
smoke
that like the Brady roast got. They
Yeah.
wanted those
Yes.
ratings.
Those ratings. And that's
And,
exactly it.
and that's
That's
what it was
exactly
all
it.
about.
Yes.
It's really sad to see, what MAGA is willing to excuse. But I don't think they're excusing it because they agree with it.
No, everybody's trying to run from it. Rick Scott of Florida immediately said, "What are you guys doing?" And
Yeah,
he started tweeting. This is how you know it's bad, when you actually start seeing the cult break apart and push from it.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing where they're like, no, we love you guys. And it's and the thing is how quick the media turned when you have this, old sleepy Joe Biden talking about all that shit and saying he's garbage and however he misspoke. And
Yep.
you're like, oh, wait, now you're gonna clench your pearls and get upset about this comment? And the news is actually sitting here giving it any breath? Get out of here. I
Yeah.
am so done with playing this both sides where it's like, no, this was an actual comment calling somebody garbage, and then he just said whatever he said, and who cares?
And again,
Because he was responding to this.
I just want to point out, if you tune into a Dave Chappelle special,
Yeah.
and you watch that special, and you get upset by that special, that to me, like, you tuned into that comedian special, knowing the type of comedian that he is, and you got upset because he did what you knew he was going to do.
Yep.
Now, that's one thing to me. Okay, it upset you, but you went there and watched it. Like, that's him, that's his thing. But we're not watching a comedy special.
Right.
We're not watching the roast of some celebrity. We're watching a political rally for who's going to run our country.
We're not watching the roast of countries, is what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I was tuning into that, roast my country. What's
and
going on?
Puerto Rico's not a country, by the way, you stupid. Sorry.
Exactly. No, but you're right. You're absolutely right. And
Saw that way too many times.
Yeah. Yes. It is our territory, and that's a whole nother conversation. But they are Americans.
And I like that Angry Bunny put this out. Tony Hinchcliffe once told the woman in his audience that the reason why the Second Amendment exists to be able to shoot her. He doesn't joke. He just says shit he actually means. Now, there were people that were posting, and he actually posted a video of Don Rickles doing a roast at Reagan, an event with Reagan at there. And they were comparing him to Rickles. And I'm like, first off, Tony Hinchcliffe isn't Don Rickles. I was like, let me tell you the difference. The difference is that every skit that Don Rickles ever did, and when he got to the end of it, he always said, these are all jokes. He's like, we are all Americans. He always ended it, saying, these are all jokes, but at the end of the day, we all should be loving each other. We should all be accepting each other. And that's the way it should be. And I love y'all, and God bless. He said that at the end of everything he did. And he did that because he wanted to make sure that the people there knew, and the people watching knew, that they were jokes. And they wanted him to know that how he felt about everybody that supported him. And that's the difference. Tony Hinchcliffe doesn't do that. He literally plays victim. Oh, nobody wants to hire me. I'm the outcast. Because you do this shit. That's why.
But that's the mega way. That's the mega way. I mean, looking at how much shit they talked about people being garbage, poisoning the blood, all this bullshit from within. And then they want to sit here and be upset that Joe Biden was like, you guys are garbage. Like, I'm sorry. Sleepy Joe is calling you the fuck out. You're garbage. Your shit is garbage. The way you talk, the way you treat people. Yeah, you're trash. You're trash. It doesn't take much to be kind to people. And for some reason, you feel you need to go above and beyond to be this trash.
They really do go above and beyond just to be hateful.
Yeah.
But the Trump Garbage Force One really was the gift that kept on giving this week. If you missed it, you really should go watch it. They put Trump's big old campaign. Dude, when I saw it, I was like,
Ryan, I literally was like, what is this? What am I watching? And then I found out the context and I go, is it? So, are we sure he's not old and senile? Like, are we sure?
By the way, if you haven't seen it, he damn near fell on his face trying to get in the truck. He missed the handle, falls backwards. I was like, again, if that was Kamala or Biden or anybody else, they would have been all over that shit like flies on.
His handlers were on it, boy. They were on it, ready to lift a cheek.
So, um, but the kicker, there was a few things that I found really funny. First off, there was a comedian that did a joke, and he about crying. He was like crying because they wouldn't let him do something, and Charlie Kirk, a bunch of news agencies ended up running with it. And this dude's he's a comedian, so it was all a joke. But they took it and ran with it, and like, see, they won't let MAGA do this. They won't. It was so funny. It's like, dude, that's a, and I will say this, just to be fair, I've gotten taken on one of those before, so sometimes it's hard to tell. But that said, no, he was just comedian. So they had his sign on the truck. He was driving around the tarmac for a few minutes, like a 12-year-old that's getting taken on on a fire truck for the first time or something. But the best part was why he was doing that. You might think that it was some genius idea that the campaign had, but nope, it was actually Plan B, because Albuquerque, New Mexico told him that they would not allow him anywhere in the city because he owes about $430 or $480,000 to the state and the city. So they said, you can't come. So literally, he couldn't leave the fucking tarmac because he owed too much money.
Yes.
And you want to put this piece of shit back in the White House?
Yeah.
Come on, y'all.
It's so deep. But you know what? I have to say, it is a perfect metaphor for how the Republican Party is going.
Yeah.
It's literally a load of shit. It's a load of shit, just trash truck, and it's doing donuts, not even serving a purpose.
Yep.
That is literally the mega movement.
Yep. And by the way, I had a video of Donald Trump calling Kamala Harris and all her supporters garbage and trash and unintelligent and all sorts of shit. So, once again, they clutch their pearls while they literally sit there and do the same thing. It's why I refuse to be kind to Trump supporters. It's like, you don't deserve my kindness. You don't deserve sympathy. Like, I don't care at this point. Like, you've literally watched this guy try to overthrow our government. He's making threats against people. Like, seriously, fuck you at this point. Yeah. Like, there's nothing else to be said.
Republicans. He's literally saying he's going to line up Republicans.
Imagine what he'll do to immigrants, people that he doesn't think are American enough, Democrats, liberals, anybody in the middle, anybody that doesn't agree with them. Like, the list will be long.
No, it will be. And with people like Ken Paxton of Texas, them trying to be in this party, like really trying to be a pinnacle point on a state level, and you think about some laws that they want to pass on a national level, get ready, okay? All you women who are voting for Trump, get ready for a Ken Paxton type of movement, which you can ask any woman in Texas what that's like.
Yeah.
If you get it twisted and you think for 1 second that you live in D.C., which is not a state, if you live in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Maine, Florida, you will be feeling the effects of a Trump presidency. You're not safe.
No.
And this is the part where you need to take this serious and you need to do your part. Speaking of, I actually cussed out one of my siblings, my many siblings. This is how serious it is to me. He's registered. He hasn't changed his or updated his information, and he missed the deadline to re-register where he's at. And I literally lit him on fire. And I just let him know, you're not supporting your sisters. You're not supporting your niece. I go, you're not supporting, the gay family members that we have. You're not doing your part for your community. And I go, it's a tragedy. It is an absolute tragedy. The fact that we come from the lineage we do. My grandfather was a red tail. All right. He was fighting on this side in the plains. When I look at the slave certificate of my great grandfather, when I think about that and I see that the weight of what that is, and I'm like, what we've had to do from that individual to get to the red tail, right? To then get to us and how we have these freedoms. I'm like, you need to show up every time. Yeah. Take the time, make a plan. And it was so upsetting to me. I was cussing him out at 6 a.m. And I was just like, I don't even need a cup of Joe. Like, we could just do this now. Let's just take on the world. I'm ready. I am ready. I am fired up. And it's one of those things where I go, you need to take voting serious, because They want you to let go of your vote. They want you to sit on the couch. So JD Vance can fuck you. There it is.
Oh my God. Um, and with that, I think it's important to point out that with the elections coming up, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump, the list of the normal domestic terror squad, they're already pushing, the elections being stolen, votes are being flipped, blah blah blah. Like I saw a video they're posting, and it's some dude trying to click on Donald Trump's thing, and it won't do anything. It won't do anything. And then suddenly it clicks Kamala Harris after he taps like 10 times,
Yeah.
and then he unclicks it. And I said, now here's the interesting part I found about this video. I said, did you notice that it didn't automatically tabulate the vote? And people in the comments were like, what do you mean? And I go back and look. I go, he's tapping. I go, when it hit Kamala, I go, it didn't automatically submit the vote. So he still had the opportunity to raise his hand and go, excuse me, it's not letting me select the person I want. I'm like, it really is as simple as that.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are making a big. I was like, now if it would have, clicked it and then sent the vote, okay, now that would have been something else. But
Right.
that's not what happened. If you click that, well, that's kind of on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and then it's like, and then the context of the video, like it just started with him clicking it. Like I wanted to see him walking in, watch, like how did this whole process that you seem to be doing come about? So, and again, election fraud happens. I
Yeah.
just don't. I just need people to understand it doesn't happen in the numbers that the Trump campaign and MAGA are trying to project.
No.
Like we actually have pretty safe elections, and the fact that they're trying to circumvent that and seed so much doubt within our election systems, it's not to benefit the American people, it's to benefit themselves.
That's right. It's quite telling to see how. Well, look, we can break down like what we're seeing in the polling. Is that in your is that on the roster?
No, I was about to go into election fraud, and
So,
go ahead.
well, before we get to the fraud, what we're seeing as the polls leading up to this, right? Because when you're looking at this being neck and neck, Ryan, I really have to say it's been interesting when we talked about in the last episode about how Charlie Kirk had it up until about 3 weeks before the moment that we're looking at now this week. And then Elon came in and now all the money's coming in. And then he is trying to get his case to the Supreme Court so he can delay his case. And the Supreme Court is like the refs in a Lions game. It's Detroit versus the refs. Let's just be serious. You're looking at the Supreme Court coming in and swooping in to, be the savior of Trump. And when you look at the situation that's happening right now with the polls, they're paying heavily to put people in positions to canvass, to grassroots. We've talked about this before. Laura Trump took a lot of the money from the RNC, and she's putting that into Trump's treasure trove because my man is literally damn near $2 billion in debt as we're speaking. The fact that he is racking up so much in bills, and I have a number for you. He right now, from that one case alone in New York of $454 million, that's a 9% interest rate. That equals $3.4 million per month since that went into action. What was that, a year ago almost?
Yeah.
Let's be serious.
Mm-hmm.
He's been racking up bill after bill. His properties are going under. New York real estate is trash right now, much like his campaign. And it's one of those things where they can't get people to fill the offices. He has to re-up and actually flip the bill for that coming next year. So there's a lot of things happening where Trump needs this presidency because he's about to be dead broke. And when you look at all these things that are happening, back to the polling, they're talking about the simple fact that Elon Musk is paying people, where you look at Kamala Harris's and it's a lot of volunteers. The grassroots there, the people are behind this movement. Where you look at the fact that you have Elon's people who are lying on their canvassing because the GPS in the app is showing them miles away from the locations that they're actually saying that they are knocking on the doors. There's a flood of misinformation, and I really do feel like they're flooding the market to get us to election day to then claim fraud and that we lost this because there's no other possible way. Look how close we were in the polls.
Yeah.
Now, please take it there with the fraud side of things.
Well, and just to add on to what you're saying too, I was watching something that was very interesting showing numbers, and there's a few avenues for Kamala and Tim to win the White House if they lose Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But looking at the numbers, the pollsters are saying that if Trump loses Pennsylvania, there's no path for him to win.
It's game over.
So that's why Elon Musk and them have been spending so much time and money in Pennsylvania, because they figured out the same thing. Without Pennsylvania, Trump's probably done.
And here's the thing. They're already claimed voter fraud in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it started a week ago.
Much happening in Pennsylvania right now. It's not even funny. They are on the attack.
They already have their lawyers headed there. Like
Yes.
they're already planning on this being Pennsylvania is going to be the Florida of 2000.
Oh yeah.
Unless they just vote in numbers that the Trump people can't even, they just don't even have anything to stand on.
Oh, 100%. And
which is what
we're
I'm
not having
hoping.
any early births. We're not doing that next week. No. I'm not even letting my wife watch TV. Tim's comment over here is funny.
What did
I'm
he
not
say?
letting my wife watch the election. I'm putting her to bed early.
Oh.
She's just good night. We ain't having no children on no election day. We good.
Because we're planning on being, while we're talking about it, Ian and I are planning on being live election night.
We'll be here.
As the stuff comes in. The only way that doesn't happen, and it'll probably just be me, is if Ian's wonderful wife happens to go into labor, because that's more important. So.
It ain't happening next week, player. I'm telling you right now.
I have complete faith in your wife's ability to keep that baby in the oven until we're ready. But at the end of the day, like I said, she's what's most important. So that baby says it's time. It's time.
Oh, we can make all the plans we want. When little man's like,
I'm telling you,
he does that.
Yep.
Let me out of here. It's game over, man.
And that's the first introduction you have to being a parent. Oh, you had a plan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you had a plan. That's
so funny.
funny.
I'm like, I already have one. I'm like, it's fine. Until I meet Damien over here, Hellspawn, I go, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yes, we are planning on being live for next week.
Yep. And pivoting back to the election fraud. And Angry Bunny, I'm gonna put that video that you just mentioned up. And she says she's afraid of the Electoral College. And I have to say, I have zero doubt that Kamala Harris is going to win the popular vote. I personally think it'll be by 10 plus million votes. But the Electoral College could still be used against the American people, as it has been before.
Yeah.
So I hope, and we're going to have the great Sarah Higginbotham back on to talk about ranked choice voting right after the election, because hopefully we're going to see yet another example of why the Electoral College really is out of date, and we need to just get rid of it and come up with better ways to vote that actually create more options than just the two-party system, which I think ranked choice voting would do. So I look forward to having her back on. And while we're talking about it, if you haven't already, go check out the show we did with Sarah Higginbotham. We did a great 1-hour episode speaking about the freedom, reproduction. I forgot the whole name. Vote repo.
Yep.
Yeah, they did the hash vote repro movement, which we got involved with. But she gives a lot of really good information about abortion and why these votes are so important for our daughters, our mothers, our sisters. And
absolutely.
And again, focusing on men like Ian and I standing up, because the reality is, whether we want to accept them or not, is that men tend to be listened to more than women for some stupid reason. So that's why it is important for men who have platforms to stand up and say, you know what, women shouldn't be the only ones fighting this fight. They need men standing up for them too. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you're a dude and you've been quiet for some reason, and you have a platform, or you have a big group of friends, don't hesitate to say something. Because a lot of the times, I'm going to tell you what happens. You say something, and somebody else in that group or somebody that's watching you goes, "Oh, I feel the same way." And then another person says it. Next thing you know, you got a big old group of people that all feel the same way. And it's amazing what you can do when you start just saying how you feel and seeing how many people relate to that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the one thing I want everybody to remember before you go into the voting booth, if you haven't voted yet, is that America is bigger than this one man. It's bigger than one movement. It's bigger than one political party. We really do, us as Americans, have way more in common than uncommon. So I hope that this is the beginning of us taking a better step. The pendulum always swings, seems heavily each way the correction swings. But I think, as Ian and I have pointed out many, many times, that not only Joe Biden, but his administration has done enough to warrant giving them another 4 years. And that's what we're doing here. We're not, I really don't think that Kamala Harris is going to come in and just completely eviscerate everything that's working. So I think there's going to be a lot of continuity as the turnover happens, and that's what I want to see. I want to see two leaders, being Biden and Harris, come together, do a nice turnover of power, and we move on to the next 4 years. And I I just know that the majority of Americans will not feel the same sense of calm that we will feel when Harris takes the reins if, God forbid, Donald Trump wins.
Hell,
Because,
economists said that there's more calm that's planned in this
yes,
under a Harris-Walz administration. They go, the uncertainty with Trump and this conversation about tariffs, this lack of planning. They said you'll see a recession within a year.
yeah,
These are some of the top thinkers of our economy who are saying this. 400 of them went on the record. And
yeah,
this is not liberal news. This is Forbes. Okay, this is literally Bloomberg. These are people who are conservative, fiscally conservative.
yeah,
I'm listening to the people who literally know the numbers, and they're saying this is the right candidate to go with if you want to see a fruitful nation. The fact that we could have an actual argument, critique, and a debate about how do we better the situation under a Harris versus what the fuck are we going to do with a Trump?
yeah.
Totally different information.
I
Totally different way to
I like how
digest.
you put that.
You know what I mean? Like, we can actually critique her on how the war in the Middle East is going. We could actually have the dialogue with her when she's in office. This is what we want to see. The
Excuse me.
dialogue doesn't start now as in, I'm going to protest, vote you. No, I got you in there. So now I need a second of your time, and we need to talk about this
Now
as
the accountability.
Americans
Now the accountability
and the
comes.
accountability.
Yep. And
That's
and
how
that
this works.
and that's how we've talked about. We've talked a lot about how are we going to pivot the show. When
Yes.
we don't have a Trump to constantly be worried about, and that's one of the things that needs to happen. Us political pundits, whatever you call us, we need to go. Okay, cool. You're in there now. Are you going to start delivering
Right.
on the campaign promises?
Right.
And that's exactly what we should be doing. Like, okay, we've given you the baton, we've stuck up for you, we got rid of Trump. Now show us what you're going to do. And I think that's the attitude that every American should have.
Right. Right.
They're
And
representing
it's
us. Don't forget that. They're here to represent us, and the President of the United States represents every American. You're represented in your district by your senators, by your congresspeople, by your state representatives, by your
that's right.
city council members. You're well represented all the way up and down the government chain. So when it comes to the President of the United States, they represent every single American. So
Yeah.
that's another reason we need to just get rid of the Electoral College, because there's no reason to gerrymander the presidency. There's zero reason.
It's interesting to see the amount of mental Olympics we go through to really carve out this. And I will say this to anybody, and this is why I'm talking on my soapbox so loud and so with my chest, with all my chest. The fact that Ted Cruz is in a challenge, really for the first time, Beto was not it. The fact that you have this
Should have
young
been.
man, woulda, shoulda, coulda.
I know,
He wasn't it.
no, no. I'm just saying, dude.
But now you
I
look
don't
at.
want to say that he was a bad candidate because he wasn't.
I didn't say a bad candidate. He wasn't the candidate. He
Okay.
wasn't the
No,
candidate to
that's
take
fair.
this dude
Clearly,
out.
he wasn't.
And when you look at that, and you look at the young man who's going for that seat, you're talking about something that seems more like Texas. When you think of Texas, military, big guy, looks like he probably played football, something around those lines where he looks like he checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
Young man, and also ambiguous. You don't know what he is, right?
Talking
Racially
about Colin.
ambiguous. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
The fact that right now, Ted Cruz is against the ropes in a fight that he has not been. I mean, Beto did challenge him. He did bring a good challenge, but the fact that you had this last rally in Houston with Beyonce talking to everybody, and having it be really about this young man and helping bringing him up to another level, that just shows you the amount of fight that's going. Mind you, in Georgia, the fact that they have like 70%, 70 something, 76% of early votes, excuse me, the number of early votes that are in that's record breaking is literally 76% of how many people voted last election.
Yeah,
Let that sink in.
these numbers are crazy. I hope they continue. I
It
really
is
do.
really interesting to see the turnout that's happening right now. And the reason why you see the rhetoric and the bullshit coming from Trump and his campaign more right now, like the thing with Liz Cheney, is because he's scared.
Oh yeah.
He's absolutely scared, which means he's more dangerous
Yep.
because he'll do anything,
Musk too.
anything,
Yeah, Musk
because they see
literally.
a sinking ship.
I
These are
I,
rats.
I really want to pull this one up because it it was my I told you so moment today. It really was. Let me see. I think I have it.
And it just really goes to show you that how afraid they are when they're screaming already fraud. They're trying to set up this whole idea, and what's coming out of the conservative cult, little circle jerk, is they're gonna win the House, the Senate, and the House, the Senate, and the White House. Right? They are thinking they're getting all three. They have a sense of confidence that is mind blowing. That they're not even realistic about what kind of victory they would actually have.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They really think every time it's a red wave, and it's like it's not. You guys had literally like a drop in a bucket with that last little puddle that you guys had, and then you guys X'd out your boy McCarthy, and now look at how you guys have limped on ever since.
Yep.
When you
So
look at all the things that are happening, but go ahead, play this.
no, no, no. Finish your
The
thought.
thing that I was gonna say was that when you look at the amount of confidence that they're trying to exuberate, is that they're in the position of, and I'm sorry to take this shot, they're in the position of Hillary Clinton back in 2016. They think they got this in the bag, and they've
Yeah.
been feeling themselves ever since my man got shot at, allegedly, and I say that to you because they have been on this high horse of it's ours. And then within the week of that convention, the hand switched. It went to Harris. She raised $1 billion within the first 3 months of being in this race, which she has shown us that you don't need a campaign for a year or 2 or 4 like this guy did. It just takes 3 months to get in the game, and you literally can hit the ball rolling and have this movement. I applaud Kamala Harris and her entire campaign. They really brought this together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a pleasant thing to watch because I was doubtful in the very beginning, but yeah, it all just came together the way it was supposed to. So Elon is sitting here, and again, we talked about it a little bit on the last show. I go really hard at Elon on Twitter just because I can. And, it's free speech. So they're sharing left-wing media that they're calling it and saying Elon Musk is Putin's best weapon. The world's richest man is coordinating with the world's most dangerous dictator. And Elon Musk shares it, and he's like, a major factor of the reason Ukraine was not overrun by Russia is the Starlink support I provided. And you know what? I started thinking about that. I'm like, the last person that I would want to have access to my fucking military operations through any kind of Starlink, internet, or whatever would, in fact, be Elon Musk. So, like,
Yeah.
so it's like, literally, you're kind of actually supporting the possibility that you could be leaking communications and information over your platform, your Starlink, to Putin. Like, that's very feasible. It could be, right?
Yeah.
And then he's coming out today saying, could Elon Musk be deported for immigration violation, which was put out today on Newsweek. And so they're saying a lot of people still don't believe me when I say the Dems will do everything in their power to destroy me if they win. It's called accountability, douchebag. Like when
Yeah,
you
they're afraid
start,
of it.
yeah, when you start paying people $1 million to support something or somebody, and $100 a signature,
When you
like
create but I told you the
a
last
super
episode,
PAC.
all you Dems, go get that money. Go get
Yeah.
that money. Go
Okay.
get that money.
So that gets me into. So let me get into it. First off, let's go back to election fraud. There's been
Yes.
several. There's been several things. There's been some mailboxes being set on fire that potentially had ballots in them. But one of the really interesting ones is Larry Savage of Indiana, who was a Republican running for office, was caught stuffing ballots into his pocket. So again, go Google this. This is real. This happened.
Yeah.
So I think this dude's going to be headed to jail, and it's really interesting to me that while
And they were test ballots? Is that something what they were?
I don't know if they were test ballots. He was volunteering at one of the locations, and he was stuffing it in his pocket.
But the
Why?
sheriffs, they watched him. They're like, "What are you
Yeah,
doing?
they're
Like,
like,
what is
are
this
you?
guy doing?"
Yeah, and they got it on tape and everything. It's crazy.
And then as they pulled it, as they went to go get him, it was in his car. You're like, "What are you doing? What are
Yeah,
you doing?"
and I think it was only like two.
It's two. It
Yeah,
was two
but
ballots.
it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? Like that doesn't help. That doesn't help your claim that it's Democrats, trying
No.
to
No.
do this. And again,
Please.
not saying that no Democrats are doing this. Again, just to drive this home, does election fraud happen? Yes, but it is not happening in the numbers that Trump and MAGA are trying to lead Americans to
The
believe.
amount of election fraud that happens will never determine the actual outcome of an election. It is so small, it
Yep.
will never outweigh what the actual numbers are.
And there's so many.
I.e., 1 out of a million is not going to change anything. It's not.
Imagine going to jail for stealing 2 ballots. That's like going to jail for stealing boxes on your day off.
Yo, man. You know you done fucked up, right? You know you done fucked up.
Oh shit!
Shout out to Friday. Such a good movie.
So with that,
on a Friday. So
on a Friday
good.
too, I know, right? So moving on to things that make you go, fuck. The Supreme Court is allowing Virginia to purge 1,600 voters who were recently removed from its voter rolls under a controversial program seeking to weed out potential non-citizens, the Supreme Court ruled Wednesday. The Justice Department civil rights groups alleged the U.S. citizens were being caught up in the purge. Let me rephrase that. The Justice Department civil rights groups alleged that U.S. citizens were being caught up in the purge. Last week, a federal district judge ordered the state to stop the program and restore those voters whose registrations had been canceled since early August. But the Supreme Court halted the district judge directive, lifting the requirement to put those voters back on the books in advance of Tuesday's election. Virginia stepped up its program in August after Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin ordered Youngkin. Fuck him. Ordered daily sweeps to compare Department of Motor Vehicle data with states' voter rolls. Officials looked for individuals who were identified as non-citizens in the DMV database but were also registered to vote. The problem with these type of things is how these laws are used.
Right.
And they have wording in them that allows them to go after people that are actually citizens. All they need to really do is have a suspicion that they might not be a citizen. So it's like,
but we're talking about people with passports.
Yeah,
American
passports,
passports,
driver's license. Yeah,
literally
it's insane.
documented. Like the amount that you have to go through to get a passport alone, and a U.S. passport, you are an American citizen. You're not faking that funk. I'm sorry, you're not.
No,
Unless you know somebody at MI6 and the Bond campaign, you ain't just getting one like that.
no, you're
You're
not.
not. And this is actually why I cussed out my brother, because he was registered in Virginia. And I go, you missed your deadline to ask for your absentee ballot. And then I
Mm.
ask him, I go, yo, can you do me a favor? And can you just go see if you're actually registered or were you purged? And he gave me some bullshit ass answer. And I go, and this is why I don't take you serious as a human being. I just
Ooh.
don't. Like, I'm sorry. If I'm not going to tell you this, your boss ain't going to tell you this.
Yeah.
It's
But
a reality.
it just goes back to that thing. If you don't vote, whether it's because I don't really care what the reasons are, especially if it's protest. Oh, I'm not going to go vote for either. You're fucking stupid. Like,
No,
don't do that.
no.
Like, get out and vote. And you've heard me, if you watch this show, you've heard me say many times that why I hope you'll vote for the person that's not a felon, a rapist, and a business fraud. Just get out and vote. Because the more voices that are heard, the better we are to make sure that the actual majority is who's ruling this country. So if you're sitting at home and you're complaining about Kamala Harris, well, did you get up and vote? Did you go vote for Trump? Did you go vote for an independent? What did you do? Or are you just sitting on the couch fucking complaining because you don't like the black woman?
I just want to ask how many billionaires / millionaires sit out and not vote because they're hoping and counting you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, they all vote. Every single one of them.
Because they're getting everything done that they want, and you're the one sitting here paying $10 for a gallon of milk.
Yep.
Let that
And
sink in.
and speaking of douchebags, let's move on to DeSantis and his current war on ballot measures in Florida.
He
So,
wasted millions years ago on voter
bro.
fraud.
So,
Trash.
and all, by the way, also using taxpayer dollars to ship immigrants around the country. Go,
COVID funds. He
yep.
used COVID
Oh,
funds to
that's
do
right. It
that.
was COVID funds, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Governor Ron DeSantis is using every lever at his disposal to defeat two November ballot measures that would legalize cannabis and restore access to abortions in Florida. They've spent taxpayer money on ads warning voters about the dangers of marijuana and pushing back on the abortion amendment, which would overturn the state's 6-week ban. The flurry of actions has generated litigation, a rebuke from a federal judge, and assertions that state officials may be breaking laws designed to prevent the use of state resources to influence an election. DeSantis himself signed a law 2 years ago that blocks local governments from sending out any kind of communications on local referendums.
The two top things that people want: control over their own bodies, which they told us during COVID, my body, my choice. That was their slogan in
Yep.
Florida. And everybody wants their weed. And the fact that he is pushing so hard on those two topics to really, which I thought less government was what the
Yeah, I thought
Republicans stood for.
deregulation and less government was the answer. Funny how it's only on things they think it should be deregulated. And it's
Interesting.
usually only deregulations that happen to benefit billionaires and corporations. Yeah. And while we're talking about cannabis, I just have to say, it's really upsetting to me to see states, and particularly the VA, not embrace cannabis more. Because out of all the shit that I've been prescribed over the years, they've given me Klonopin to help with my anxiety. They've given me all sorts of shit. The thing that's actually helped me the most and probably covered the most ailments has been cannabis.
That's right.
You're talking about if you, and I'm just going to talk about it real quick. Sorry. If it's like wine to me. If you go drink wine and you're like, oh, I like my red wine, I like this wine. Pot is actually the same way if you really get into it. There's all these different strains. There's indicas, there's sativas, there's hybrids, And then there's sativa leaning hybrids, indica leaning hybrids, all this type of stuff. So it's like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to be active? Well, then a sativa is probably what you want. Are you trying to like be active but you don't want to be pinging off the walls? Well, then a nice hybrid sativa might be good for you. If you want something to go to sleep, then you definitely want an indica of some sort. And then you get into the indicas and you're like, there are really strong indicas, there's indicas that don't give you the munchies, there's all sorts of things. It's like you become this pot connoisseur of sorts. But what happens is you can, for those of us who are really in tune with our bodies, like I've told Ian before, I can sense sometimes when my manic episodes are kind of coming, and for me that tells me, okay, I need to be on an indica because I need something that's going to keep me chilled and not lose my shit. So again, it allows you to medicate so many different things if you get into it and learn how to use it. And the fact that we're trying to wean all these people off of pain pills, but you don't want to give them anything in return to take care of the pain. Chronic pain fucking sucks. It literally ruins your quality of life. So, if you're not going to give people pain pills, then you need to come up with something else. And shit that grows out of the ground is probably a lot better than anything that's made in a pharmaceutical, factory.
Which is why there's a massive push against it.
Yeah.
Because pharmaceuticals, like big pharma, like the OxyContin
pain pill prescriptions would go down by half. If you literally allowed.
Really pushed hard.
Yeah.
To get their bullshit toxic chemicals in your body that did irreparable damage. But welcome to Hold the Mic, where we have more high thoughts. And if you guys stay tuned next week, Ryan will give you a great prescription for not wanting to blow your brains out if Trump wins.
I was like, where's this going?
No, he'll give you.
Yeah, I have medical grade. I have medical grade edibles for in case that happens. They're 50 milligrams. This is no bullshit.
I told you.
1,000 milligram bottle.
Save it for next week.
We'll save it. Nah, man.
Tune in for high thoughts.
What I need to do is I need to get my dispensary to start sponsoring the podcast.
I was like, you make that shit sound delicious. Like, what is this menu you are offering?
Put it in a brownie.
You got these hybrids and you got these.
I need to go get a part-time job being a bud tender is what I need to do. But no, all jokes aside, it's one of the reasons we moved here. Was because I was having I have chronic pain. I've had 2 back surgeries. Like it's an everyday thing for me. And I've been on the pain pills for a long time and I hate taking them so much. So it's like I needed something else to help me. It'll be time for bed in 30 minutes. And it's like if you're one of those people that, like, you're on pain pills and you hate taking them and you want to find something else, I highly suggest maybe trying cannabis because
love a good gummy, man. Love a good gummy.
It just it helps. And if you're somebody trying to find an alternative, then I definitely would suggest it. But try not to break the law doing it. Just don't want to promote that.
Educational purposes, more high thoughts.
And they give education. They give educational material they ask me every time I go, you need educational material? Nope. Been doing this.
I learn on the job.
Yeah, definitely learned on the job. Speaking of jobs, we need to talk about the U.S. jobs report that came out today.
Yes.
So the U.S. only added 12,000 jobs in the month of October, which is pretty abysmal, especially when you look at last month, which almost doubled expectations. This was like the complete opposite. It was almost completely flatlined. But with that said, there were a couple of reasons. One being the storms that have been coming through the United States for the last month.
2 major hurricanes that blew through.
So that's part of it. Another thing that they cited were the Boeing strikes. And I had come up with one. This one's pretty messed up, actually. Again, go Google this. PepsiCo in south side of Chicago abruptly closed one of their plants with hundreds of workers showing up to work and just being told, sorry, it's permanently closed. Yeah. They had no notice, no 2 weeks, no month, no nothing.
I wonder will they get any kind of package on the back end of this.
I'm actually trying to pay attention to see what's going to happen because
Yeah.
there's a union involved. So from what I understand, they've come out and said that the company broke the law because there's something in place that they were supposed to have to give them a certain amount of notice. So it does sound like the unions are going after them. So it'll be interesting to see. But point being, there are a lot of reasons that the job report looked so bad, and as much as it sucks to have that come out, days before the election, I think it's important to understand the context of why it looks so bad.
Right.
But it is what it is.
So wild right now, but at the same time, unemployment stayed the same.
Yeah, unemployment stayed at
as last month.
4.1%. Yep.
So that didn't change. So we're officially a soft landing.
No
Things
new
are gonna get
jobs,
bumpy.
not many new jobs, but not a whole lot of lost jobs either.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And so that's really interesting to
That
see.
is a positive. That's a positive.
Yeah, I mean, you're not seeing major shifts.
Yeah.
As a reality, and the uncertainty is there. I mean, I have to say this, guys. I really think the polls have been flooded more pro-Trump because the whole meaning of the game is to line this up to say, how could we have lost? And all I want you guys to know and take away from this is make sure this motherfucker loses because we're at that place. Do not sleep on this. Do not be one of my weak-ass brothers who really just was lazy, let it go by. Get out there, vote, use your voice, really make a stance on how you really do want to see this country, not only for the time that we have it, but how do we hand it down to the next generation. Yeah. And something that I'm speaking about the next generation, guess what the next generation, Gen Z, first-time voters, just got in their TikToks?
What?
Grab 'em by the pussy is now making a comeback, and they are seeing it for the first time.
Oh.
The Hollywood tape. The Access Hollywood tape is on TikTok, and it's making its rounds with Gen Z, and they are absolutely disgusted with this guy.
Oh.
Keep in mind how young they were back in 2015. 10 years ago.
That's true. I need to go repost mine because mine went viral last year.
Repost it because the reality is it is making headlines through that generation where they are realizing what garbage ass person he really is.
Speaking of headlines, so this was the video that Angry Bunny was talking about. By the way, she says, I'm embracing cannabis as we speak.
Yes.
I will be as soon as the show's over. So this is a video. This just kind of shows you how crazy things are right now. And I think every election has these sorts of things happen, but it seems like it's even more drastic right now. So this was in a polling location in South Carolina. Dude was wearing a Let's Go Brandon hat.
Next thing, there it is right there. No.
Oh, wow, God. Oh.
Don't do that.
Wow.
I don't like this one, man.
Wow. 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 I may want to help with him.
Damn.
I don't like that clip because it misses the context of the very beginning where they're telling him you can't wear that hat. Like, you cannot wear that kind of clothing, which is just promotional material. Like, you couldn't walk in with that Harris Wall sign into a voting booth.
Right.
You can't carry anything that is...
The area is supposed to be completely off.
Completely neutral. You walk in there, you vote for who you vote for, you bounce out. And they literally were telling him, you can't wear the hat. And then he cussed out one woman And she said, "You can't talk to me that way." And another individual got in and said, "Hey, you walk away and I'll deal with him." And then what Bunny is saying, he poked her in the forehead and then she hit him in the face like, don't ever touch me. Don't ever touch me. And that was after the hat. And it's ridiculous that he thought he had the okay, meaning to put his hands on another individual.
The caucasity.
To literally do that, especially to these black women. And all I thought was he should be very thankful there was not some black men there helping at the polls,
helping out those aunties
who would have helped out
Fucked
on
him up.
handling him. And it's one of those things where I'm like, this is as old as apple pie.
Yep. Speaking of somebody else that needs to have their face fucking rocked, Elon Musk is neck deep in this election. You've heard me going off about him for months now. It's just become so blatantly obvious what he's doing. He's put in over $130 million into the Trump campaign through his America PAC. And, again, this is a dude who back in March said he wasn't going to be supporting or donating to either candidate, and that in order for X/Twitter to be, the public forum, that it needed to be bipartisan and blah, 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 all his bullshit and lies. So now his super PAC is sending people door to door, and things don't seem to be going very well with that.
No.
Some things we have here. Many of the operatives who have helmed DeSantis's operation that they're copying are
How
now
did that one go?
Yeah, didn't go well. And they're the ones that are now in charge of Musk's super PAC, which is backed in part by roughly $119 million in investments from Musk himself. The America PAC has been tasked with much of the pro-Trump canvassing operation as his campaign focuses its efforts on a more limited effort targeting so-called low-propensity voters. In turn, the Musk-backed organization is going door-to-door in all of the major swing states to help turn out the Trump supporters and have them fill out surveys about their voting intentions. That's weird. But the people who spoke to NBC News, many of whom have years of experience in GOP field operations, said the operation may not be the well-oiled machine many in the party might hope it is, especially considering how much money is behind the effort.
That's right.
In particular, they raised concerns about canvassers submitting an inordinate amount of suspect data. That data, some of which NBC News has reviewed, includes entries submitted far from the home or while canvassers are logged into Wi-Fi networks. Telltale signs that a door was not knocked on, sources said. In addition, a video explaining how to spoof one's location while submitting data drew attention in Nevada and Arizona, raising further concerns. I know it's been flagged for America PAC that this has been transpiring, an operative formerly on the effort said. As some of the data spilled into public view last month, an operative close to the effort said all hell has broken loose inside the PAC. Those who spoke with NBC News ranged from on-the-ground canvassers to mid-level managers to senior operatives close to the PAC. So
what I say to that is there's no honor amongst thieves.
Nope.
And grifters are going to grift. And the fact that they're being con men to the con man, it all stinks from the head.
Yeah. It again, he's sitting there talking about putting Liz Cheney in front of a firing squad. And the funniest part is you got all these freaking immigrants and Elon Musk being a former illegal immigrant himself influencing these elections.
Can we talk about the fact that Stephen Miller at that convention at that rally was saying America is only for America is only for Americans only. Whatever his bullshit ass slogan was, as the camera pans to Melania and Elon Musk. Let that sink in.
Exactly. These people they're garbage. I think Biden was being kind, honestly. I call them pieces of shit every day. Like, I call Elon Musk a piece of shit. Like,
I just hope Sleepy Joe says whatever he wants on January 20th.
Dude, I hope he signs so many fucking executive orders on his way out the door that it makes Republicans' heads spin. That's what I hope.
It is quite priceless. That's all I have to say.
So I've got one more here that just to further drive the point home on Elon. Let's see here. So
Workers brought to
this is a
Michigan by a
story.
contractor for Elon Musk.
Yeah.
This
So
is a story about.
Ida
Go ahead.
saw this unfold in her neighborhood in Michigan.
No
and
shit.
her and I were talking about this, and she said it was very odd that people were walking around her neighborhood, and she thought, what is going on here? So please take it away.
Okay, so this is workers brought to Michigan by a contractor working for the America PAC. So this is being funded by Elon, evil fucking Musk there.
Workers brought to Michigan by a contractor for Elon Musk's America PAC say they were given wildly unrealistic quotas, were driven around unceremoniously in a U-Haul, and told that they might have to pay their own hotel bills. Oh, and they were surprised to find out they were actually working to elect Donald Trump. Workers who spoke exclusively with Wired say they faced threats that their motel rooms wouldn't be paid for unless they met exceptionally high canvassing targets. One door knocker claims that they didn't even know they were signing up to do anything with Musk or Trump. In an audio clip reviewed by Wired that was sent by a door knocker, a manager is heard saying, "They're going to stop paying for these rooms, and then you're going to have to pay for them yourself. You can't do that with no money." The contract these door knockers signed with Blitz Canvassing, a subcontractor of Musk's America PAC, stated they were expected to maintain a 17 to 22% engagement rate during the campaign, which is a high target relative to the number of people who typically open the door for a stranger. A representative for Musk and America PAC did not return a request for comment. Neither did Blitz Canvassing, which has received more than $9 million from American PAC for the presidential campaign canvassing as of October 29th. The Trump campaign has largely outsourced its field operation in Michigan to Musk, a move that comes under heavy criticism because it uses apps that basically don't work very well. Blitz Canvassing has also reportedly had issues with fake door knocks being flagged by America PAC's glitchy app Campaign Sidekick. To be clear, field organizing normally doesn't work this way. The gold standard for door knocking apps is minivan, and transportation usually involves carpooling with other volunteers or campaign staff offering a ride, preferably with seatbelts.
It's wild to think about the amount of volunteers that are signed up for Kamala Harris. And then you have this situation where they're literally grifters, thieves, and the unknown, like the ones who are just, they're not aware of what the situation is. They just signed up for a job. The fact that they're paying so much money to get people to do this, it all goes back to Laura Trump taking away the money that was set up for the infrastructure that the RNC had to literally have a grassroots ground game. She put it towards Trump's bills.
Yeah.
And now you have this billionaire coming in to try to save the day, and he is flipping the bill, and you're just wondering, what's in it for him?
Oh, well, a spot in the cabinet, because that's the closest he's going to get. Influencing the president directly, a fucking former illegal immigrant. Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I said, me personally, you know, let me just pull it up real quick. These people forget that we do have laws, and that we do have precedents, and that, let me see where it is. Don't start yawning on me.
Hey, man. I get up at 4 a.m.
You better fix that shit. So, let's see. From 18 U.S. Code, Chapter 115, Treason, Sedition, and Subversive Activities. Section 2381, Treason. Whoever, owing allegiance to the United States, levies war against them or adheres to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort within the United States or elsewhere, is guilty of treason and shall suffer death, or shall be in prison not less than 5 years and fined under this title but not less than $10,000, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States. It's a freaking law. Like, literally, it says, if you are a traitor, that we will put you to death. And I know some of you don't want to believe this, but Donald Trump is a fucking traitor. Like, he's a domestic terrorist. He's had world leaders over to his private home and talked about current events and what would happen if he became president again. Like, he literally breaks the laws on a daily freaking basis, and for some reason, he keeps getting away with it. So
he's too in deep with Deutsche Bank and with some of the infrastructure that's built out there.
Yeah.
There is a real thing of being too big to fail. And there's a part of it where it's the cancer that now is growing within the infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
And the thing with him is they're either gonna get their money out of him first and foremost. But it's one of those things. Look at again. A month is being racked up in just interest.
Yep.
This guy's broke. The emperor has no clothes with him. And I'm really hoping to see, in general, I'm hoping to see come November 6th or 7th that we have a strong understanding that Trump, or let me say this correctly, that the American people for the first time will see actual accountability. Because keep in mind, if Kamala Harris wins, November 22nd, Judge Marchon will pass judgment on his case here that he delayed until after the election.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that's more severe than people wanted to say, and that's why he postponed it, because he didn't want it to be construed as voter intimidation or
I'll be honest, I didn't like it.
You didn't like that he delayed it?
Yeah, I mean, I understand why, and it makes sense. I'm not sitting here saying
I think
it
the
doesn't make
severity of it is he didn't want it to be considered election interference.
And my position was, I think voters should have known.
They should know
they should have known what the outcome was before we voted.
Yeah,
because that's almost like saying, you know what, we're going to give this dude the opportunity to become president and make this all go away.
Right.
And that's where my head went. I'm like, yeah, but if he becomes president, all this instantly goes away.
Yeah.
So no, the American people should have known what the outcome of this was before we voted. But that's the decision they made.
But if they were like, he's guilty and we'll tell you what his sentencing is after the election, we'll talk about it. They could. I mean, look, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I guess you have to have.
He's still a felon. He's out on bond. Like,
right.
He's a felon.
Like, let this sink in, guys. He actually can't get a job at McDonald's with his resume.
Yeah. No.
Let that sink in.
Yep. His criminal record, he would not be able to work in McDonald's and make you fries.
No.
And by the way, if he had to do that for more than 15 minutes and 30 minutes, he would be...
His bone spurs would flare up.
Yeah. He'd start melting.
There'd be a lot of makeup on those
fries. The makeup would be dripping on the... Oh.
He would look like Rudy Giuliani.
I don't know. I think I prefer the... What breakout did they have? I think the E. coli or whatever. I think I prefer that. Oh, my
God. It's so good. First off, his hands need that makeup. And second off, one thing, because those pasty, man, it looked like Till from the Crypt. Those pasty old white hands.
Yeah, and they got all the spots, the old man spots on them. Ugh.
I see our future. It's coming.
Yeah. Look, but with that, I think we'll wrap it up here. And we're just a few days out here, guys. If you're gonna vote in person, if you're gonna vote in person, great. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you check your voting locations, because I know here in Arizona, I just did a story with the Copper Courier that there were a lot of schools that said that they wouldn't host voting because of the threats and whatnot. So there were actually voting locations that were shut down. So make sure you check your voting locations, because it may not be the same as a couple years ago. And just make sure that your voice is heard. That's the best thing that we can do at this point.
That's another thing that happened in Florida, was some little 18-year-old white boy with a machete waving it around.
I saw that.
And guess what? He found out. He's 18 because yo ass went to jail.
Yep. Yeah, you don't get any free passes after 18.
No. Welcome to being 18.
So,
but yes, know your sites. Have a game plan, guys. Bring a bottle of water. Bring a snack. Bring 2 snacks just in case you got somebody there that needs it.
Yep.
Which in Florida you're not allowed to hand out food.
That was Georgia.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Georgia. You're not allowed to hand out food or water. Wild the level of suppression that they're trying to implement in this.
Yeah,
but thank you for the correction. But
That's
yes,
crazy though.
happy Friday, guys. It's the last one
Yep.
before we get into the thick of it. And what's our positive? Do you have a positive at all for this weekend before?
I do, but before we do that, I just want to remind everybody we will be here Tuesday. It's Tuesday,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll be here Tuesday night as the election results start coming in, and hopefully we will have a really good idea by the end of the night. But if not, then we'll know the next day.
We'll make some jokes and we'll do what we do.
Yeah, we'll make some jokes. Who knows? Might drink again. I don't know. We'll do something. We'll have a good time.
I think you'll have a good weed recipe to put out there.
Probably bring that 50 milligram edible. Be drooling on the microphone. Like, did they say Virginia?
You're gonna have me looking like Christopher Wallace over here, all right? I'm just gonna be just cockeyed, just looking at just in whatever direction. It's gonna happen.
Oh man, not Biggie. So
he always kept one eye on Diddy.
So okay, so here's my positive is gonna be a funny story. So for those of you who don't know, I dress up every year and scare the kiddies for Halloween. It's like one of the highlights of my year. And one of the first kids that comes up is little kid in a Spider-Man costume, and he's like acting scared, and I bent down to him, and all of a sudden he just falls backwards, like on his heels, onto the ground and starts fucking convulsing.
No.
I'm like, what the fuck? So like I instantly like come out of character, and like bend down to get, check what's going on. But I instantly notice that the mom has her camera on and is farther down the driveway and she's not reacting. And Jen's right here. So she's like, Jen's kind of the same thing. She noticed the mom wasn't reacting. So I get down, and as soon as I get down to check if he's okay, he stops and starts giggling. And he was like, gotcha.
That right there is next level genius.
I was like,
played you like a sucker.
Him and the mom had planned it because they came last year and I scared the shit out of them. So they wanted to get me.
You were living rent free in this little boy's head for
a fucking year. And now he's going to be living rent free in mine for the next year. I'm going to be looking for his ass next year. Like, you're going to be about 3 inches taller. I'm already...
I'm going to join you. I'm going to come out of nowhere. I'm going to rob him. I'm going to say, trick or treat, mother.
No, listen to this. So I got it. I already have my plan. So I do Michael Myers almost every year. So they kind of know that and expect that. And this year I was sitting in the chair because my back was bothering me. So I was sitting in the chair in between when everybody would come. But I had the strobe light out and I was slowly rocking. They didn't know if I was real or not. So it kind of gave me the idea while I was sitting there. I was like, next year I'm going to stuff my normal, coveralls and everything I wear. And I'm going to have them sitting in that chair. And then I'm going to be in the side, down the dark alley there. And I'm going to scare the shit out of them because they're going to think that that's me.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Oh, next year's going to be good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've got the kid. I got the kid fucking with me. I got him on my security camera. Little shit.
You already. You know what? That needs to be in one of the shows. You need to play.
I tried to get Jen. I was like, send me. She's like, it's at this mark. I was like, I don't have time to do it.
I don't have time.
I'll definitely get it and probably post it. But yeah,
But see, that's Halloween. I love that. I love that level.
My neighbors are great.
Places. Yes, that's everything.
Yeah, you know what? It is a blessing to have good neighbors and a good community, good neighborhood that we live in. That the kids feel safe and can walk around and all that. So, yeah, no, it was a good night. I wish there had been more kids, but we had a really good time with the ones that did.
Again, man, you got to make that complaint. HOA president, man, let him know.
You know what I might do next year? I might actually open the gates for the night.
Why not?
Because I can do that. Just say,
see that? See what happens? Hold the mic. We change things. You see that? You see that? When truth speaks to power, there you go. There you have it. You're welcome, everyone.
No, what happens now is that now the president takes it to the board to find out if he can do it.
Well, that's called democracy.
Yeah, that's called Congress, baby.
that is exactly what that is.
But shout out to my board members too, my HOA board members. They actually are amazing, and all the problems we have to solve together, couldn't ask for better people to solve them with. So
that's what's up.
Definitely appreciative of them. So what about your positive?
Tomorrow morning, man. Not tomorrow morning, but tomorrow. We celebrate little man being 3.
Wow.
So the big Trinity, man, he's about to be 3. So big man, he just came in. He learned how to make a fist. He's already punched me in the face a couple times. And so now we're boxing. That's our thing.
Okay.
He thinks we're playing. I'm actually upset. So
I'm actually in my feelings.
he's gonna catch these hands. Okay. So he doesn't realize it. I'm not playing around with him.
Oh, God.
And so, you know, when all that giggling, when it turns into crying, it's his fault. All right. Tell his mother. All right. Y'all got me here on the mic telling the truth. No, so he's turning 3, and so we're looking forward to it. We picked a little spot in Brooklyn, this little in-house joint where he's gonna have like a fun house. Like he's about to have a whole nother like experience, and his thing is Spider-Man right now.
Yeah,
and he's doing the spider webs to everybody. So it's really dope to see him kind of just like really kind of come into his own.
Yeah.
And so we did a full-on Spider-Man theme, and the cool part was I got to make all the goodie bags. And it's gonna be literally him and it's gonna be 20 kids.
Yeah.
20 kids. And I'm like, I can't wait to see how this unfolds. And I already know what drama is gonna happen. Like the goodie bags are different colors, and I go, why did it to my wife?
It should have been all the same.
Colors? It should be the same color because that way
I
when
want
that
the blue one.
blue,
I want the purple one. Yep.
I already see it happening, and I'm dying laughing because I'm like this. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna open a beer, I'm gonna chug it until the parents deal with it. I am laughing. So the only thing that we're hoping for is that Elizabeth does not go into labor during this party. This is what we're like, let's just get over this. Let's get over this hump. Let's get over this hump. Like this is it. So we'll see.
Don't
but
fuck this
the
up.
little man, don't fuck this up. It's not his actual birthday, but it's when we're celebrating his birthday because of the birth of the new child. So we got 2 Scorpios.
Okay. You have one job in between today and Tuesday night, and that is to keep that fucking kid in her tummy.
Let me tell you, we have no control. That little man is gonna do what that little man's gonna do.
We about to find out how the next 18 years of your life is gonna be.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And already, it's a fight.
Yep.
So one of them's catching hands.
Yep.
And
funny thing was, I thought that's how Dominic was gonna be because of how much trouble he gave Jen, but he's actually ended up being the. He's the mellow, like he wants to help everybody. He wants everybody to get along. He wants to help everybody, and he wants to clean up all the trash on the side of the road. That's his thing. So
I don't know, man. That's a lot of mega.
I told him, I was like, we'll get in the truck. We'll get some. I told him, I was like, we got to get some of them. What are they called? Little things like the grippers that you pick shit off the ground. It's almost like we'll get some of that, and we'll go walk around and pick some stuff up.
There's some really great programs with just volunteering.
Yeah.
For him to be with a group of young men, young people, and doing that, which is really noble of your son. I love the stories of your kids, man. It's very motivating.
They just have good hearts, man. Like,
man, we gotta go to bed, man. It's night time.
It is night. It's night time around here. Yeah.
Oh, you still got to tell the story
nights.
of me randomly joining your Instagram live. Was it Instagram or TikTok? TikTok.
Oh, yeah. So I'm on at shit. I don't know what time it was here. It had to be 11 o'clock.
Midnight?
Yeah, it was like 11 midnight.
Yes.
And so I'm on, and all of a sudden I see him in the comments like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, so we had never tried it, but we were able to go live together on TikTok. So watch out for that.
Out for that.
And this dude stayed up for like 45 minutes having a conversation with me.
Literally, and it wasn't I'm not at that caliber, right? It's just my voice. But I was sitting there in darkness with a blanket on. I was like, "Hey, man, blah blah." Like,
I know, no camera on. Yeah.
No camera. And I was laughing.
He was doing it ASMR style. Yeah.
Yo, I was sitting there. I laughed. I go, I can't believe we just did a show, like an impromptu show, for me, 2 to 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I didn't go back to bed. I stayed up from 2 in the morning, went to work, and then went to work. Ironically, little man had like a nightmare, and I went in there, and then he had me in his room for 45 minutes. So at that point, I was like, just stay up. Like if you go to bed, I'm missing work.
Yeah.
And so I just stayed up, and I go, I've been up since 2 in the morning, did a show, hung out with my son. I go, what is my life right now? Like, what's happening? But I didn't mean to hijack your show. I just thought it was so dope to see you I was doom scrolling, like, okay, maybe I'll fall back asleep if I do this. And I go, oh, this is my boy Ryan. Oh yeah, what up, Del? What's up, Ryan?
Yeah.
You're like, Ian? I go, he can see me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize it was gonna pop up that fast, and I was like, yeah, Ian. Well, I'm not thinking straight. I'm literally groggy.
It's 2 in the morning. Yeah.
And I'm just laughing. I go, oh, you know what? Let me jump on. So I just like sat up. Was like, hey,
And that was the
man,
thing.
how you
He
doing?
sent me the invite. Like I didn't,
Did I send the invite?
Fuck yeah! I didn't think I wasn't gonna. It was 2 in the morning. I wasn't gonna be like, "Hey, come on."
I thought you said, "Let me try this." Man, I don't even remember. I don't know how I got on. I was like, "Oh, it works."
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, it's pretty dope. It was pretty
Yeah.
dope.
So he can go live on TikTok now. So we'll be banned there soon enough.
Yeah. We're taking this show on the road.
Taking it, baby.
We're gonna keep you guys guessing.
But with that said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up tonight. If you haven't voted yet, please make sure you vote. Please have a plan. Please check your voting locations. If you have friends that don't have a ride and you have a little bit of time and a little extra gas, give them a ride. Let's do everything we can to make sure that this felon, business fraud, adjudicated rapist, accused pedophile, domestic terrorist piece of shit stays out of our White House.
Go vote. And this is the last weekend here in New York. Try to get out to the polls. Get it in, and then it's all going down this Tuesday.
I got my voted sticker.
Unless you're mega, your cult letter said
January
5th. That's when you vote.
So
But
Trump
for the
supporters
rest
will
of
see you
Americans-
January 5th,
Yep.
and for everybody else, November 5th is the call time. So
November 5th is the call time. Show up.
With that, leave you as always do with much love. Keep fighting. Stay safe out there. And for the last time, make sure you get your ass out and vote.